So we all know what Call of Duty is. It's one of the few games you don't even have to play video games to know about. Love it or hate it, it's been one of the titans in the industry for a long time and is not going anywhere anytime soon. I've been playing these games for years, and I'm sure like a lot of you, I have some of my best memories playing Rust in Modern Warfare 2, or playing on Rise in World at War Zombies. And those are fantastic games, and you can never take that away from them. But no matter how much I love those games, just being honest, Call of Duty's been fucking up in the past few years. With each new game coming out, they've been taking a step farther into the future, and with the last game landing us in space, flying spaceships and jumping off walls in exosuits. And that's just not what Call of Duty is at its core. And this year's kind of a big year for Call of Duty now because it's going back to its roots and it's hitting World War II. And how'd the game do overall? Pretty damn good. You know, it still feels like a Call of Duty game, which is good because Call of Duty knows how to handle a first-person shooter, but with the addition of a few new game modes and shaking up some of the mechanics, I think they did a great job bringing some life back into the series. So when I booted up the campaign and decided to play it on hardened because that's what all the badasses do, the first thing I noticed is that my health wasn't recharging. You actually have to use health packs now to restore your health rather than just taking cover and waiting for it to recharge. And I thought this was a great idea. It totally changed the way I had to play the game, forcing me to sit back and use cover and peek my corners rather than just running into a room spraying and praying. And I had a lot of fun playing it this way. It added a lot more weight to my decisions, and I had to just, move through the campaign a little more realistically. Although even on the harder difficulties, I never really found myself without health packs because there's plenty of them to find on the floor, and also I was able to get some from my squad mates because now your squad mates have these special abilities that can help you out in combat. For example, they can give you ammo or health packs, or they can point out enemies for you, and I like this because it gives some meaning to what was meaningless teammates in past Call of Duties, and also makes it feel like you have some support and you're not going in by yourself. The story itself is okay. You play as Private Daniels participating in some of the biggest battles on the Western Front of World War II, like D-Day and the liberation of Paris, and those are a lot of fun, but the narrative that they try to drive with Private Daniels is honestly just not interesting. The developers really tried to make you feel attached to your squad mates and care about them throughout the campaign, but all the way up to the last mission, I couldn't remember any of their names besides for Zussman, and that's only because you and Zussman have a traumatic event in the first mission, which causes you to care about him a little more, and he's also the most written supporting character throughout the campaign. Then they try to push this make my big brother proud kind of story with Daniels, and it never really grips you emotionally, and they probably could have just done away with it entirely. I did enjoy watching the power struggle between Pearson and Turner, but then around halfway through the campaign, that storyline gets cut off, and I thought that was a bummer because it was one of the stronger points of the narrative. Story aside, the campaign's still fun to play. There's portions where they'll throw you in a tank or maybe a fighter plane, and those are fun to mix it up every once in a while. There's stealth missions, which are fun, but just a little underdeveloped. One of the highlights for me actually was when you have to go undercover in a Nazi headquarters, and it forces you to memorize a backstory that you'll be interrogated on throughout the time in the headquarters. And this was really tense, and it totally threw me off, and I didn't even remember I was playing Call of Duty for a split second. And there's definitely no shortage of Michael Bay set pieces here either. You'll be escaping falling clock towers, dodging live mortar fire. There's even a portion where you find yourself on the turret of a Jeep chasing down a train, and then that train will derail and demolish everything around you while you're watching the carts just nearly fly over your head. And it's great and totally reminds me of something out of like an Uncharted game, which handle these set pieces beautifully. Overall, the campaign's pretty fun, but I know a lot of the people watching will probably skip it entirely and just hop straight into the multiplayer. And the multiplayer is generally what you'd expect it to be. Without all the gimmicks of wall running and double jumping, it's a core Call of Duty experience, and the standard modes don't really change it up, and that's a good thing or a bad thing depending on who you are. Without a doubt, the biggest contributor to multiplayer this year round is the brand new war mode, and this is a game changer for me. The mode has an attacking and a defending team playing around 3 sets of objectives on the map, but not just standard objectives like capture the point. They're more objectives surrounding tasks like escort the tank, or build the bridge, or destroy the anti-air guns, and it's a lot of fun to do. What I really enjoy is that it also doesn't surround your KD. In fact, you can't even see your KD if you open up the scoreboard. So what it does is it forces players to play the objective rather than just running around the map looking for kills. The only thing really holding this mode back is that there's only 3 maps for this mode, which is a total bummer because this is actually one of the strongest points in multiplayer this year round. Regardless, I still absolutely love this game mode, and it's going to keep me coming back for some time. And they added this other game mode called Gridiron, which I can't necessarily give the same hype for. It's kind of like soccer but Call of Duty style, where you have to get the ball to the other team's goal and you fight over it along the way, but I lost interest in this mode pretty quickly. Then they added the new headquarters, which is like this social hub for multiplayer. The best thing I could probably compare it to is like the tower in Destiny. In it, you can hit the shooting range, you can do 1v1s, you can can test out score streaks, you can open loot crates, and it's cool. It's nothing crazy special. It gives you something to do while you're waiting in a lobby, but I never saw a single other player inside of it unless I had people in my party, which I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, but I at least got the interpretation that I'd be seeing other players there that I can interact with while I'm waiting for a game, regardless of if I'm in a party or not. So it's cool, but it's just nothing to really, show off. Then Create a Class got an update with a division system. This allows you to pick a division based on your playstyle, with infantry being for assault rifles, airborne being for SMGs, armored being for LMGs, mountain being for sniper rifles, and expeditionary being for shotguns. This doesn't lock you into using that weapon if you're using that division, but it gives you little buffs towards that weapon if you're using the right division. For example, the expeditionary class gives you fire rounds for your shotgun, and airborne will give you a silencer for your SMG. And I think it's pretty cool because it allows you to cater to your playstyle a little better. But also, which is kind of a minor update, but I think it's a big deal, is that now the infantry class gets a bayonet on the end of their weapon, and now all the other divisions don't have a knife as their basic melee weapon. Meaning you can't just run up to someone and knife him anymore. It takes 2 hits to kill them rather than the 1, unless you're using the infantry class, because then you use your bayonet on the end of your gun. But I think this is a great addition to the game, and I'm gonna welcome it with open arms. And then we have the return of Nazi Zombies, my favorite game mode throughout all of the Call of Duty franchises, and this year does not disappoint. For those of you who don't know, Sledgehammer Games is the developer of this year's Call of Duty, and they worked on the original Dead Space. And you can definitely tell they drew some inspiration from that in this year's Zombies, because this year's Zombies, in comparison to other years, is a lot darker and scarier than it's been. Although the initial scariness kind of wears off really quickly, the change of vibe is happily welcomed here. They're also going for this really story-driven experience this time around. There's an initial prologue you can play that sets up the scene for the map you're going to play on, and then once you're inside the map, there's then objectives for you to follow now. And one of my biggest complaints in the past with the zombies is that it just kind of gets boring around wave 15 or 20. There isn't much to do at that point, but now there's an actual progression you can follow throughout the whole time you're playing if you choose to do so. Then once you're playing, you'll probably notice that there's different kinds of zombies now. There's the standard ones that you've dealt with in the past, but now they have running zombies, some with explosives on their backs, they have some tanks coming through, they have zombies with flamethrowers now, and the diversity is nice. It changes up your playstyle every so often, and it just keeps you on your toes. And just a small little detail, and I have no idea how this hasn't made it into the game before, you can actually give your friends points now. Just by pressing left on the D-pad, you can drop 250 points at a time, and this is absolutely essential. It stops people from kill hogging, and it creates more teamwork because you're not as worried about getting more points over your friends. This, in my opinion, should have been added in the game a long time ago, and I'm very happy to see that it's here now. And finally, they've added a create a class system into Zombies. This allows you to pick an ability, different starting weapons, and complementing perks, and it's pretty cool. You can now strategize with your team to create complementing classes for the game, and it adds some progression now that makes you want to come back and try different things. I've had a lot of fun with this Zombies so far, and I see myself coming back to play this one for a long time to come. So that's about it. Overall, the game's pretty good in my opinion. It's still a Call of Duty game. If you're a Call of Duty fan, this is definitely a must play. But if you're not a fan of the series, I'm not going to tell you this is going to wrap you back into it, but I think it's worth a try. I'd love to know what you guys think, so please leave a comment down below. This is actually a new channel that I'm starting where I hope we can all come together and talk about different kinds of entertainment. If you have any feedback for me, please leave it in the comments down below. If you like what you saw, please hit that subscribe button. If you like the music you heard, please check out my friend Brock's SoundCloud. He's doing some great stuff over there. Once again, my name is Nick Davidson. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.